How many of you have a pet? Does your pet stay confined in the same area day after day? Do you only interact with your pet during feeding time? My guess is that is not the life of your pet, but is the life of many zoo animals. Today I'm going to talk to you about the reality of life in a zoo and how you can make a more educated decision if and when you decide to visit a zoo again. You may think, why do I care about this? But the fact is, all living creatures deserve quality of life, and it is important that we speak up for those who can't. I've raised livestock my whole life, and I'm also a hunter. I am not an animal activist, but I believe in the humane treatment of all animals. Now I'm going to talk to you about some of the issues with zoos. Not all zoos are good. A major concern of zoos is animal welfare. It's very difficult to create the ideal environment for an animal that may walk up to 28 miles a day. They have a lack of money and space because they usually do it in a populous area where many people will come and pay to see the animals. Here you will see zoos that are caged up, pictured here. Elephants walk up to 28 miles a day. In a 1 acre environment like this, they can't get that. So they will get different bad things for them like obesity, foot infections, and arthritis from not using their limbs like they should. Some abnormal behaviors caused by stress or their unusual living conditions include bears that bob their heads, birds that pluck out all their feathers, and swaying elephants when they don't get a walk enough. Also, predatory animals become more aggressive because us as predators look down on them in their cages through a glass wall and they can't attack or get away from us. Zoos are seen as a recreational facility. Parents take their kids to the zoo as a source of entertainment. Children see the animals in cages and think, that is okay. It needs to have an educational program for the kids. Now you may be asking yourself, what can I do? There are many things you can do to evaluate whether or not the zoo is doing the right thing when it comes to the treatment and care of their animals. Is it accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums? This is an optional thing that only the best zoos hold themselves to. It's a very hard standard to reach. What do their enclosures look like? Are they clean, adequately sized, mimic the natural habitat? Can they get away from people? Are the animals very stressed out and look unhealthy? Lastly, do your research. Get online, it's very easy. A few things you can check and just in a quick Google search is, are they accredited? Do they have an educational program? Here's some of the educational programs that zoos have. And there's one of a zoo getting accredited and how you can do it. In my last slide, I will tell you about some stories of people who stood up for animals and made a difference in the lives of some zoo animals. We can all make a difference if we want to. Pictured in this first picture, we have an elephant named Maggie. She was put in Anchorage Zoo in 1983 and culled from a herd in South Africa. Anchorage is a very cold and snowy place, as you can see. That is in South Africa. They also have very different daylight patterns that was very hard for her to transition to. It was too cold, so she stayed inside a lot of the time. Her health began to fall. Firefighters tried to help her stand, but they just couldn't. They tried to mimic the 28 miles she needed to walk by getting her a $100,000 treadmill, and she wouldn't even walk on it. There was a huge public outcry. In 2017, they boarded a plane with her and moved her to a 30-acre elephant sanctuary in California. Her health immediately improved. Pictured here is a whale named Tilikum. He was captured and sold into the killer whale industry. He killed 3 of his trainers. Again, there was another public outcry. SeaWorld agreed to stop breeding killer whales and phase out of killer whale entertainment shows. Lastly, I want to introduce you to a different approach on zoos, seen here at the Leahy Lulu Wildlife Zoo. This is based in China, and the people get on the back of a truck that has a cage, and they have meat vests around them where they have stacks of steak and stuff, and they could reach their hand out and give it to the animal. I think this is very good because they're in a huge environment that is walled off, although they're free to roam, and they're free to come to you. And you have the meat on you, and you're the one in the cage. So they can walk about all day as long as they want. Hopefully those stories gave you a different perspective on the lives of zoo animals and how people can make a difference. Animal welfare should be more important than entertainment. Today I've educated you on some of the main issues of zoos and gave you some ways in which you can evaluate zoos. So on your next trip to the zoo, instead of just looking and admiring the animals, think about things from their perspective. How happy would you be if you traded places with them and were the one in captivity for the rest of your natural born life?